Hi, everybody. I'm so glad that you're here. Welcome back to Louisiana Tech. I hope you all had a great summer. So I'm here to tell you about and kind of introduce you to the class, Intro to Environmental Science. And then after this video, we will get into some of the introductory material for the actual course. So we'll start with introductions. My name is Dr. Julia Earle. I am an associate professor here in the School of Biological Sciences. This is my 8th year here teaching at Louisiana Tech and the second time teaching this class. If you need to find me in person, my office is in 123 Carson Taylor Hall. It is the bottom floor, kind of the basement sort of area. And the best way to reach me is through this email address here. I check my email once or twice a day during the workday. I usually do not check it on the weekend. I have kids, so I try to spend time with them instead of doing work. But I assure you that any problem that you have, we can totally take care of during the week, and I won't penalize you because of it or anything like that, because I don't usually check my email over the weekend. There may be some exceptions to that, but that's the general idea. So what else about me? So I teach this class and environmental science and biological sciences to 12, which are the introductory classes to the environmental science program. There are also general education requirement classes for a variety of majors. A lot of business majors take both of those classes, and other majors as well. And then biology majors often will take these as biology electives. I have a research lab here on campus. I study the conservation and ecology of aquatic insects primarily, but I do some work on amphibians too. A lot of the work I do looks at the effects of leaves that fall off of trees into ponds and how it affects water chemistry and then the organisms that live in those ponds. So if you're really interested in research, you might want to learn more about that at some point, depending on your career goals. So to get into what this class will be like, the syllabus is posted on Canvas already. I posted it in the general information section as well as in this first week. So look at it, read through it. It has all the point distributions for your grade, how I round up the final grade, things about late policies. I do have a late policy. If you have an unexcused reason for missing something, you can still do it with a 10% penalty, but the details of that are in the syllabus. It also at the very end has a schedule, so if you want to see when we're going to hit which topics, you can go ahead and look at that on the schedule. It also has the date for the final exam and things like that. This is also our book. I did want to point out, so it's called Environmental Science, A Global Concern. I do not care what edition you have. I did not actually put the picture in. There's a 16th edition, there's a 15th edition, and a 14th edition. I believe the electronic version of the 16th edition is what will be included in the Bulldog bundle if you're getting that. I do want to point out that I'm not pulling any problems or questions directly from the book. I will give you all the information that you need to have. The reason that the book is helpful is because if you don't understand something that I said in lecture, sometimes it is helpful to read it from someone else. You can also remember the ideas better if you actually read the book as well. I do have several hard copies in my office that people can borrow for the quarter. Usually people don't, but I would love it if somebody wanted to actually use them instead of them just sitting on the shelf doing nothing. So those are available if you are not doing the Bulldog bundle and you do not have the funds to pay for the book, but you do think it might be helpful for your grade and that you intend to actually look at it. That is an option for you. Okay, so I wanted to go through how this class is going to go. As you all know, it's asynchronous online. You've found the tutorials already because this is the first one. So there will be tutorials to complete Monday, Wednesday, Friday. These are short lecture segments. I try to keep them to 10 to 15 minutes. And then there'll be some questions to answer afterwards. You can take these as many times as you like. What I would recommend is the first time you do it, you watch all the videos all the way through and take notes on paper. That actually helps you remember things, is to actually physically write it down. And then you also have those notes ready for you for the quizzes as well, for studying. And if you don't get all the answers right the first time, then you don't necessarily need to rewatch the video to redo the tutorial. You can just go through and re-answer the questions. And the repetition will help you remember and do them well. And it's also a way to get a higher grade on those. They're worth 10 points each. So if you miss 1 or 2 throughout the quarter, that's not really a big deal, but every Monday, Wednesday, Friday for 9 weeks, there's going to be one. So that does add up to a decent amount of points over the whole course of the quarter. So I do recommend not missing many of them, or if you kind of, half do them and are only getting low scores, then it's probably not going to help you very much either. So I would go back and make sure you get the full points for them. And if you're really having a hard time with some of them, then I would go back and watch the video a second time. But because the videos are chunked into 10 to 15 minutes, it means that you don't have to go back and watch all of them. You can just watch the one that you found confusing again. So those are for Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then there will be weekly quizzes on Canvas over that week's material only. They're not cumulative, they're just for that week, but for these you only get 1 attempt. So I really recommend that you study the material that are in these tutorials so that you're ready for the quizzes. There are also going to be study materials posted for each week that have all the PowerPoints for each of these lectures, as well as a term list which has all the important terms that you're going to need to be able to define in order to do well in this class. Finally, at the very end of the class, there is a cumulative final at the very last Monday of the quarter, but it will be open more than one day, and so will the quizzes. I'll go through more of that in a minute. So this is what I said a typical week will look like. There will be a lecture tutorial on Monday. There will be a lecture tutorial on Wednesday. There will be a little bit shorter one on Friday, and then there will be a quiz. The quiz will be open from Friday morning until Sunday at 11:59 p.m. So about 3 days it will be open. And so this is a short week, so there's not a quiz this week, but at the end of the next week, there will be this quiz due. As I said, these tutorials you can take as many times as you like, but the quiz you only get to take for 1 attempt. I do also want to point out that these tutorial deadlines are not hard deadlines. So if you don't get the Monday one done on Monday, I'm not going to take off points. I've structured it this way so that you don't try to do all of them at once. If you do all 3 lecture tutorials in a row and then try to take your quiz all at the last minute on Sunday, like do not start all of this at like Sunday at 3 p.m. or even later, or you're just not going to remember all the material and you're not going to be ready to take this quiz. So I do recommend you space them out. This is an asynchronous class so that it can fit your schedule. Some of you may be trying to work full-time during the week. Some of you may work in the evenings after going to other classes. Some of you may work all weekend. So whichever one that is, I want to make it so that you can still be successful in this class. If you don't have a lot of other things going on and you just took this because it was easy to schedule or you like online classes, then I would try to stick to these deadlines because it will help you have structure. Like if you don't do well with being told you can do it whenever because you'll put it off, then treat these as actual deadlines and that will make it easier for you to actually get all of your work done. But again, if you have something going on during the week or something going on during the weekend, please make this work for you. And if you need help with that or need to talk that through with me, please just let me know. Okay, so I want to give you some more about the quizzes so you know what to expect. The quizzes are timed. You're going to get 15 minutes. They're going to be a mix of multiple choice and short answer questions. They are open book and open note. However, this 15 minutes means that you do not have time to look up every single answer, okay? So you do still need to study. I also want to point out that they're open book and open note. Your notes or the PowerPoint slides that I provide. Or I'm going to give you a term list if you want to write down the definitions for all the terms to have right in front of you before the quiz. That would be a wonderful thing to do. But it is not open internet. That means you should not be Googling the answers. You should not be using artificial intelligence. Do not type the questions into ChatGPT. And you should also be doing your own work. So that means you should not be taking the quiz and have another person in this class sitting right next to you and discussing each answer together. So do note that it is not any of this. You should be doing your own work, and you should only be using your book, your own notes, my PowerPoint notes to take the quiz. So you do still need to study. This open book, open note is really for the times when there's like one or two questions where you're like, oh, I remember them saying something about this, but I just don't remember the answer. That's when you're supposed to use your book and your notes, not just for every question, because this is a common complaint I get when I do these sorts of things, is that there wasn't enough time. If I gave this to you in class with no notes available, you would be done in under 10 minutes. So 15 minutes is plenty of time. You just need to make sure that you've gone over your materials well and that you have your notes well organized. If you don't know where information is in the notes, then it's not going to be very helpful for you and you're going to run out of time. So that's kind of my key tips to getting through these quizzes. All right, I also want to talk about office hours. So these are my office hours. If this doesn't work for you, by all means, please email me and we can try to come up with another appointment. I can do Zoom or in person. Of course, you'll need to email me for a Zoom link if you want to do Zoom. I also want to point out that I'm in my office a lot, but sometimes the door is closed. That's because my hall is often very loud, and so I have an easier time concentrating when I can't hear everyone's conversations out in the hall. So please knock if I'm here, especially if it's during office hours. You're not bothering me. Please come in and ask your question. However, if there's a sign on the door that says that I'm in a meeting, or there are some times on my schedule on the door that when I'm not available, those are like important working time that I need to get very specific things done. And I do also want to point out, just because these are my office hours, it does not mean I'm universally available with no one in my office. There could be someone else from this class meeting with me. There could be students in other classes with me meeting with me. There may be a faculty member that comes and needs to talk to me about something. And occasionally I need to step out to deal with something, or I might have a sick kid or something like that. So if you want to guarantee that I'm available, emailing me for a time so that I have it on my schedule just for you, that's the best way to do it. But please, if you happen to be on the hall and you have a question and you want to just stop in, that's also just fine.